The earth roared, a monstrous bellow that ripped through the ordinary afternoon. Dust rained down, the lights flickered violently, and then, with a deafening crash, the world turned to rubble. When I regained consciousness, a crushing weight pinned me down. Panic clawed at my throat. Beside me, I could hear Vivian's ragged breathing. My white moonlight, Jason, was also trapped, a groan escaping his lips. Rescuers, their voices strained and urgent, reached us through the debris. "We can only save one of you immediately," a voice boomed, cutting through the chaos. "She has to choose." Vivian's face, streaked with dust and blood, remained eerily calm. Her eyes, however, held a chilling calculation. "Thank goodness they saved me," she stated flatly, her voice devoid of emotion, as if discussing the weather. A surge of misplaced gratitude flooded me. Tears streamed down my face, blurring the already hazy scene. I was alive. She chose me. "I'll be good to you," I choked out, vowing in my heart to dedicate my life to her, to repay this unimaginable debt. But back home, amidst the ruins that were once our lives, Vivian erected a shrine. Not to a deity, not to a savior, but to Jason, my white moonlight. Her lost love, the man who supposedly traded his life for mine. His black and white portrait, cold and accusing, dominated our living room. She demanded daily prostration, hours of kneeling on the cold, unforgiving tiles, chanting Buddhist scriptures, forcing me to atone for the sin of living while Jason perished. Every sunrise, every sunset, was a reminder of my supposed worthlessness, my life bought with another man's sacrifice. Then, one night, as I lay in the exhausted slumber of the tormented, Vivian struck. The cold steel of the blade, the searing pain in my neck. My last conscious thought was of betrayal, of utter incomprehension. Her whispered words, venomous and triumphant, echoed in the darkness as my world dissolved. "It's all because of you that Jason died. Why should you get to live a good life?" Darkness. Then, blinding light. I gasped, bolting upright in bed, the phantom agony of decapitation still a raw, visceral terror. My hand flew to the back of my neck, trembling fingers searching for the severed wound. Smooth skin, no jagged edges, just goosebumps raised by lingering dread. Relief washed over me, so potent it was almost dizzying. I was alive. Again. My eyes darted around the familiar bedroom, taking in the pristine order, the minimalist decor of our apartment. Sunlight streamed through the uncurtained windows, banishing the oppressive gloom that had characterized our home in my previous life. There was no cloying scent of incense, no heavy, light-blocking drapes, no ghastly black and white portrait dominating the living room. I drew a shuddering breath, the reality of rebirth crashing over me. It was real. I was back. My gaze fell to the floor. There, beneath my feet, was the telltale floor tile in the living room, the one with the chipped corner. On the lower left, a jagged imperfection courtesy of my knee, broken under the relentless pressure of Vivian's forced devotions. In that past hell, Vivian had transformed our home into a macabre temple to Jason. She'd forced me to worship at his altar, to kneel on this very spot for 18 hours a day, a grotesque penance for the crime of survival. Exhaustion was my constant companion. My body, pushed beyond its limits, would often collapse, muscles spasming in agonizing cramps that sent me writhing on the unforgiving floor. Even then, my torment wasn't enough for Vivian's twisted sense of justice. She would grab fistfuls of my hair, slamming my head against the hard tiles, blood blurring my vision, mingling with the dust and tears. "This is what you owe him," she'd shriek, spittle flying. "Your life is bought with his, and all I ask is for you to kneel. You're pathetic, shameless." Her spit would land on my face, sometimes even in my mouth, and I was too weak, too broken, to even flinch away. Suddenly, a searing hiss sliced through my reverie. Sizzle. Ayayoa. The air filled with a nauseating stench, burnt meat, acrid and sickening. My scream of agony did nothing to deter Vivian. If anything, it seemed to fuel her frenzy. The incense stick in her hand, its tip glowing red-hot, was extinguished. No matter. She simply grabbed another, plunging the burning ember into my flesh. Again and again, my face, back, arms, neck, all became canvases of pain, dotted with a constellation of blistered, weeping burns. A grotesque roadmap of her relentless cruelty. Just the memory of it, the vivid recall of the pain, sent shivers racking my body. Sunlight streamed in, painting the room in cheerful hues, but an icy dread had settled deep in my bones. But this time was different. I was back. I had a chance. Ding dong. The electronic chime of the bedroom door broke the oppressive silence. It swung open, and Vivian emerged, a vision of languid sensuality in a silk negligee that barely concealed more than it revealed. She was home, and behind her, emerging from the shadows of our bedroom, was a bare-chested man. Jason. The air in the room thickened, charged with unspoken accusations and simmering tension. 3 figures frozen in a tableau of betrayal. Vivian's neck was a roadmap of passion, adorned with a constellation of fresh, livid love bites. Strawberry marks, blatant and undeniable. Even a fool could decipher the scene. And I had been such a fool. How could I have been so blind, so trusting, in my previous life? How could I have believed their pathetic lies, their carefully constructed charade of innocence? Vivian's eyes widened momentarily in surprise, then narrowed with annoyance as she registered my presence. "Why are you still here?" she snapped, her voice sharp-end. "Impatient. Weren't you supposed to be at the office? And then go to the nursing home to take care of my father? Looks like you have too much free time on your hands." A bitter laugh bubbled up in my throat, dangerously close to hysteria. Free time? I was drowning in work, sacrificing my sanity, my health, all, to fuel Vivian's extravagant lifestyle, to maintain the illusion of our perfect life. I toiled like a beast of burden, rising before dawn, collapsing into bed long after midnight, every spare moment squeezed out to care for her paralyzed, perpetually resentful father. Endless shifts of changing diapers, spoon-feeding, enduring his constant stream of venomous complaints and insults. And this was the thanks I got. "Vivian," I said, my voice surprisingly steady, considering the storm raging within me. "We're getting a divorce. I'll have my lawyer draw up the papers. Just wait for the summons to sign." "What?" Vivian's perfectly sculpted eyebrows arched in disbelief. "Divorce? Who's going to take care of my father then? I certainly don't trust those nursing home aides. That's your job now. Besides," she added, a dismissive smirk curling her lips, "who else would want you after me? Honestly, you're so ungrateful." She truly believed she held all the cards. She thought me weak, malleable, easily manipulated. And in the past, perhaps I had been. Driven by a desperate, foolish love, I had tolerated her every whim, every insult. But this brazen, in-my-face betrayal, this crown of cuckoldry, let someone else wear it. I was done. "I'm not serving that old tyrant anymore," I retorted, my voice hardening. "And you, did you hear me? Divorce." The word hung in the air, a declaration of war. Vivian recoiled, stunned. She had never seen me like this raw, unleashed fury. For a moment, she was speechless. Jason, ever the opportunist, stepped forward, adopting a posture of wounded righteousness. "I always heard Vivian say you were rough, uncouth, lacking in basic manners," he drawled, his voice dripping with false condescension. Looks like she was right. Shouting at a woman? "What kind of man are you?" As if on cue, Vivian, the ice queen, the unyielding dominatrix, dissolved into a puddle of manufactured tears, flinging herself into Jason's arms. Gone was the imperious facade, replaced by a simpering, pathetic vulnerability. Without a word, I moved. 2 swift, brutal punches connected with Jason's face, the satisfying crunch of bone echoing in the sudden silence. Blood erupted from his nose, painting his pristine white shirt crimson. "And you?" I snarled, turning my fury on him. "What are you? When did anyone ask for your opinion? This is my home, my life. And you adulterous snake, get the hell out of my house." Years of suppressed rage, of simmering resentment, finally exploded. It felt liberating. "Aya, you beast. How dare you hit my Jason?" Vivian shrieked, transforming into a raging harpy. She launched herself at me, nails extended like claws, a feral fury contorting her beautiful features. Her blows rained down, scratching, clawing, drawing blood. My face burned with the sting of her attack. She was a whirlwind of uncontrolled rage, a woman possessed, consumed by a twisted, obsessive devotion to Jason. "Get off me, Vivian," I roared, shoving her away, disgusted by her touch, her proximity. I had no desire to engage in a physical brawl with a woman, even one as venomous as her. These two, they were repulsive. Turning to leave, I glanced back at Vivian, her face contorted with love-crazed fury. A hollow, mirthless laugh escaped my lips. You should probably get yourself checked out at the hospital, Vivian, I said, my voice laced with cold amusement. Wouldn't want to catch anything nasty, would you? Jason, the college heartthrob. Handsome, charming, utterly amoral. He'd always been indiscriminate in his affections, shall we say. Men, women, it mattered little. His conquests in the company were legendary. His smooth talk, his practiced charm, his pretty face. They were weapons he wielded with deadly efficiency, and Vivian, blinded by infatuation, had been his most devoted victim for over a decade. Even after our marriage, she'd remained untouched, preserving herself for Jason, her precious white moonlight. But whispers had reached me, rumors of Jason's latest ambition, to snag Sarah, the chairman's daughter, a prize far more valuable than Vivian. Karma. It was a bitter, twisted irony, but perhaps, just perhaps, Vivian was finally about to taste the same agonizing betrayal I had endured for so long. From a young age, orphaned and alone, I had poured my entire being, my entire world, into Vivian. I'd entrusted her with everything, my finances, my future, even the last, precious memento of my mother, a jade pendant. But Vivian, with her refined tastes, had dismissed it as flawed jade, relegating it to a dusty corner of her office, hanging carelessly from the window frame. Now, the pendant was my only objective. To retrieve it, to reclaim that small piece of my past, before the impending disaster struck. And then escape. Escape this city, this life, this nightmare. In the quiet solitude of the company stairwell, my thoughts were abruptly interrupted. I collided with a young woman, her head bowed, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Are you all right? I asked, concern instinctively rising within me. She didn't respond, didn't even acknowledge my presence. Tears streamed down her face as she hurried past me, fleeing upwards, towards the higher floors. Hey, I called after her, a sudden premonition gripping me. It's not safe up there. You should go somewhere open, somewhere safe. The words tumbled out, driven by an inexplicable urgency. I walked into my office, the unsettling encounter already fading from my mind, when the low hum of office chatter intensified, morphing into excited whispers and gasps. Did you see it? It's insane. Those pictures, they're everywhere, even in the company group chat. Unbelievable. Who knew the chairman's daughter was such a wildcat? She looks like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth, but yeah, Jason's got moves, all right. He actually managed to hook up with Sarah Bai. Talk about a golden ticket. I wish I could land a chairman's daughter. Sarah Bai, she's hot. The lewd comments, the crass innuendo, washed over me, a wave of disgust rising in my throat. I pulled out my phone, navigating to the company's internal messaging app. The group chat was exploding with activity. And there they were. Images. Naked, explicit, undeniably Sarah Bai. And Jason. The photos were crudely doctored, amateurishly photoshopped, the seams glaringly obvious. Jason's handiwork, clumsy and desperate. A pathetic attempt to blackmail Sarah into submission, to force her hand, to trap her into marriage. The depths of his depravity were truly bottomless. But it wasn't my problem. Disaster loomed. My priority was survival, my own. Let Jason and Sarah destroy each other. I had no stake in their twisted game. Yet, as I turned to leave my office, a faint sound drifted from the hallway, a muffled whimper, followed by a sickeningly familiar leering chuckle. Help, please help me. MMPH. My father, he'll kill you for this. Sarah's voice, choked with fear and muffled by a hand, pierced the superficial indifference I had tried to cultivate. Hold still, little bird. Jason's voice, thick with lust and malice, slithered through the air. Everyone in the company knows you're mine now. Might as well make it official, right here, right now. Ha 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 ha, you smell delicious. I froze, rooted to the spot. Jason. Sarah. Upstairs. His lewd laughter, her desperate cries. A cold dread coiled in my stomach. He wasn't just blackmailing her. He was assaulting her. Now. Here. Bile rose in my throat. Self-preservation screamed at me to run, to escape, to ignore the cries for help. But something snapped within me. A flicker of something, perhaps it was residual decency, perhaps a primal urge to protect the vulnerable. Gritting my teeth, ignoring the icy tendrils of fear clutching at my heart, I turned and ran towards the stairwell. Upwards. I grabbed a heavy wooden rod from a janitorial closet its rough texture grounding me in the escalating chaos. Heart pounding, adrenaline surging, I raced up the stairs, guided by Sarah's increasingly frantic cries and Jason's triumphant, sickening laughter. I burst onto the rooftop, a scene of horrifying violation unfolding before me. Sarah was pinned beneath Jason, her clothes torn, her body writhing in futile resistance. Her muffled sobs and Jason's panting breaths filled the air. Rage, white-hot and blinding, consumed me. With a roar that tore from my chest, I swung the wooden rod with all my might, bringing it down on Jason's back. The impact was sickeningly solid, a cloud of dust erupting from his clothes. He howled in agony, collapsing to the side, clutching his spine. I ripped off my shirt, throwing it around Sarah's trembling, half-naked body. She was a broken doll, tears streaming down her face. Her eyes wide with terror, she instinctively burrowed into my chest, seeking refuge, seeking safety in the arms of a stranger. Looking down at her shattered innocence, at Jason writhing on the ground, my fury surged anew. "You are a monster, Jason," I roared, my voice shaking. With rage. "You use a girl's vulnerability, her reputation, as a weapon. You humiliate her in front of the entire company, and then you try to violate her. You are scum. I hope this earthquake buries you alive." The words, fueled by pure, unadulterated rage, poured out of me. Unseen, unheard, Sarah in my arms stiffened, her tear-streaked face lifting slightly, a flicker of surprise, perhaps even hope, in her eyes. She clung to me tighter, a silent plea for protection, for salvation. I wrapped my arms around her, holding her close, stroking her hair. It's okay, I murmured, my voice softening, gentling. "I'm here. I'll protect you." The ground began to tremble, a low, ominous rumble that vibrated through the concrete beneath our feet. Earthquake. It was happening. Now, I had to get Sarah out of here, down to safety. But before I could even lift her, a figure stormed through the rooftop door, a screech of rage ripping through the air. "Ethan, who is that you're holding? Who is this woman? Are you cheating on me? Again? How dare you?" Yeah. Vivian. Her face contorted with hysterical fury, her eyes blazing with possessive rage. In her twisted reality, I was hers, property to be controlled, to be punished, to be used. And she, and only she, had the right to betray, to humiliate, to inflict pain. The sight of me holding another woman, a woman vulnerable and distressed, shattered her carefully constructed delusion. She wanted me to suffer, to grovel, to beg for her forgiveness, but not to find solace, comfort, or connection with anyone else. Ever. The hypocrisy was breathtaking. The sheer, unadulterated gall. I stared at her, cold contempt hardening my gaze. This woman, this monster in a beautiful shell. I was done. Utterly, irrevocably done. Ignoring her tirade, I turned to move past her, Sarah still cradled in my arms. But Vivian, a whirlwind of fury, blocked my path. "Let her go. You can't touch her. You can't hold another woman." "We're divorced, Vivian," I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. "It's over. You have no claim on me." "I haven't signed the papers yet," she shrieked, her face contorting further. "We're not divorced until I say we are." Seeing that I wouldn't engage with her, her rage shifted, focusing its venomous energy on Sarah. The nude photos. She must have seen them. But, even now, confronted with the undeniable evidence of Jason's treachery, she clung to her delusion, blaming the victim, protecting the perpetrator. "It's you. You Jezebel. You're the one who seduced Jason, and now you're trying to steal Ethan too? You shameless hussy. You're disgusting. Get down here, you slut. I'm going to scratch your eyes out. Rip that pretty face to shreds." Vivian lunged, a feral animal unleashed, her hatred palpable, suffocating. Even Jason, groaning and limping, struggled to his feet, joining Vivian's attack, a grotesque duo of vengeance. 2 against 1. 2 madmen against a man already weary, already wounded. The odds were stacked against me. But then, the world ripped apart. The sky cracked open, a monstrous tear in the fabric of reality. Darkness descended, swallowing the sunlight, plunging the rooftop into an eerie twilight. The ground bucked and heaved, a violent, earth-shattering tremor that threw us off balance. Buildings groaned, concrete groaned, metal screamed. The roar of collapsing structures, the shattering of glass, the terrified screams of humanity. The apocalypse had arrived. Sarah in my arms clung to me, her small body trembling violently. I held her tighter, shielding her as best I could, murmuring words of reassurance into her hair. It's okay, don't be afraid. But fear, cold and clammy, gripped my own heart. Not again. Not this. Not again. How long we remained trapped in the collapsing world, I couldn't tell. Time warped, stretched, lost all meaning. Then, silence. A heavy, suffocating silence, broken only by the groans of settling debris and the distant cries of the injured. I awoke to darkness, to the crushing weight of rubble, to a throbbing ache that permeated every fiber of my being. My head swam, my vision blurred. Disorientation warred with a dawning sense of dread. Sarah. I had shielded her. I remembered pulling her close, protecting her. But now she was gone. The space beside me was empty. Pain lanced through my left arm, my right leg. Broken. Ignoring the agony, I pushed myself up, wiping dust from my eyes, struggling to focus my vision in the dim, debris-filled twilight. A massive slab of concrete loomed before me, a jagged, menacing shape. And beneath it, two figures, pinned. My heart lurched. A cold premonition seized me. With agonizing slowness, I crawled towards the slab, the sharp edges of rubble tearing. At my skin, the pain a dull, persistent throb. Dust obscured everything, blurring the already indistinct shapes beneath the concrete. Finally, I reached them, and then I saw. Beneath the slab, trapped, groaning, were Vivian and Jason. A wave of bitter, savage satisfaction washed over me. Justice. Twisted, ironic, but justice nonetheless. Karma, finally catching up. The two architects of my previous torment, trapped. Together, facing their final reckoning. They, the villains of my story, now forced to choose their own fates, to decide which of them deserved to live, which deserved to die. My eyes darted frantically around, searching, scanning the ruins. Sarah, Sarah, I called out, my voice hoarse, desperate. We had been through this together. We had faced death side by side. I had to find her. I had to know she was safe. My cries, however, only roused the trapped figures beneath the slab. Vivian and Jason stirred, groaning, their voices weak and muffled by the weight of the debris. Ugh, what happened? Vivian coughed, spitting out dust. Ethan, is that you? Why can't I move? Get this thing off me. Now, her voice, even weakened, still held that imperious, demanding tone. My leg. Ethan, help me. Please, help me. It hurts so bad. Wah, Ethan. Jason's voice was laced with self-pity, laced with the manipulative whine of a spoiled child. Tears streaked through the grime on his face. The once handsome face was now a mask of fear and pain. Vivian, seeing Jason's distress, her own fear momentarily eclipsed by her possessive instincts, snapped at him. Stop whining, Jason. You're embarrassing yourself. Ethan, do something. Get us out of here. From my vantage point, I could see the precarious angle of the concrete slab. It was delicately balanced, teetering on the edge of collapse. Any sudden movement, any attempt to lift it from one side would likely shift the weight, crushing whoever was trapped on the opposite side. Only one could be saved. The rescuers had said it before. Only one. A cruel, twisted idea began to form in my mind. I looked down at Vivian and Jason, trapped, helpless, their lives hanging in the balance, their fates in my hands. I can't save both of you, I said, my voice cold, detached, echoing in the stillness. The way this slab is positioned, if I try to lift it from one side, the other side will collapse. It's one or the other. Only one of you can survive. Silence descended, heavy and suffocating. Vivian's incessant demands, Jason's pathetic whimpers, all abruptly ceased. The only sound was the ragged rasp of their breathing, the faint creak of settling rubble, and the frantic pounding of my own heart. Vivian's eyes darted between me and Jason, a flicker of calculation in their depths. For the first time, perhaps, she was confronted with a choice she couldn't manipulate, a situation she couldn't control. Life and death, hers or his. And she was hesitating. Jason, predictably, cracked first. Ethan, buddy, come on. Man, we're practically brothers. Look, Vivian, she and I, it's nothing serious, just a bit of fun on the side, you know? It's her fault, really. She's the one who came on to me. You gotta save me, Ethan. Please. His voice was a desperate, pathetic whine, his eyes wide with terror. I raised an eyebrow, a sardonic smile twisting my lips. Oh really? Vivian seduced you? Is that your story now, Jason? I turned my gaze to Vivian, waiting for her reaction, eager to watch the spectacle of their mutually assured destruction. Vivian's face contorted with fury, her eyes blazing with betrayal. You? Jason, I can't believe you. After everything I've done for you, after all the risks I've taken, you're blaming me. I was ready to die for you, Jason. But you're willing to throw me under the bus just to save your own skin. Tears welled in her eyes, tears of rage, of betrayal, of self-pity. How could you do this to me? And don't you forget, Jason, she continued, her voice rising in hysteria. It was your idea to sneak around behind Ethan's back. You said it was exciting, dangerous. You even wanted to wear Ethan's clothes while we. Jason's face paled, his eyes widening in panic. Shut up, you crazy bitch. You're going to get us both killed. He lashed out. Verbally, his carefully constructed facade of charm and sophistication crumbling into dust, revealing the ugly, selfish core beneath. Ethan, listen to me. This woman is insane. She's a liar. She's unfaithful. She's been sleeping around with who knows how many men behind your back. She's not worth saving. She's not worth anything. His desperation was palpable, his self-preservation instincts overriding any semblance of decency or loyalty. Ethan, please, just save me. I'll give you everything. My car, my apartment, my savings. I'll be your slave for life. Just save me. Vivian, witnessing Jason's utter betrayal, his craven self-interest, finally seemed to grasp the enormity of her mistake, the depth of her delusion. Her gaze shifted back to me, pleading, desperate, but now, tinged with a newfound humility, a hint of genuine remorse. Ethan, please. Ethan, I'm sorry, she choked out, tears streaming down her face, mingling with the dust and blood. Jason, it was all Jason's fault. He manipulated me. He seduced me. Please, Ethan, save me. If you save me, I swear I'll dedicate my life to you. I'll be a good wife. I'll be everything you ever wanted. I see it now, Ethan, she sobbed, her voice cracking with emotion. I see how much you loved me, how much you sacrificed for me. I was blind. I was foolish. I took you for granted. But if you give me another chance, if you save me, I promise, I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I'll love you. I'll cherish you. Just save me, Ethan. Please. Her words, her desperate pleas, hung in the air, a tangled mix of manipulation, fear, and perhaps, just perhaps, a sliver of truth. Looking at her tear-streaked face, at the raw vulnerability in her eyes, a strange, unfamiliar emotion stirred within me. Pity? Compassion? Or was it just a flicker of memory, a ghost of the love I had once felt for this woman, for the woman she once was? My gaze drifted back to Jason, still whimpering, still pleading, still offering empty promises of servitude and wealth. Then back to Vivian, her eyes fixed on mine, begging for salvation. Which one? Which one to save? And could I, truly, make that choice? A memory surfaced, unbidden, from the depths of my past. A memory of a different Vivian, a younger Vivian, a kinder Vivian. A memory of Rain. I had let go once before, offered Vivian her freedom, her chance at happiness, even if it wasn't with me. But Vivian, in her characteristic way, had dismissed it, scoffing at the very notion. I'm already married to you, she declared, as if it were a life sentence for us both. I'm not going to marry another man. We'll just stay like this, for life. Little did I know then, Jason's study abroad wasn't a scholarly pursuit at all. It was a European jaunt, a few months of frivolous vacation, punctuated by a string of fleeting romances and meaningless flings. And when he returned, tanned and refreshed, the twisted dance between him and Vivian simply resumed, as if nothing had ever changed. But everything had changed. The previous life, the agonizing death, the rebirth. It had cauterized my heart. All warmth, all affection for Vivian had been burned away, leaving behind only ashes. Her desperate pleas now, her pathetic attempts at remorse, resonated with nothing. No pity, no anger, just a vast, echoing emptiness. They were reaping what they had sown. And the pain they were experiencing now? It was a mere whisper compared to the agonizing symphony of suffering I had endured in my previous existence. A mosquito bite compared to a gaping, festering wound. My silence, my impassivity, seemed to unnerve Jason. Panic flared in his eyes, a raw, animal terror. He feared I might still harbor some lingering affection for Vivian, that I might choose to save her. Ethan, Ethan, buddy, please. Save me. My life. My real life is just starting. I can't die here, not now. Then, turning his desperate pleas on Vivian, he whined, Vivian, Vivian, you always said you loved me. If you really love me, you'll let me live. You'll give me this chance. I'll make it up to you in the next life. I swear. I don't want to die. Please, please, you have to help me. Tears and snot streamed down his face, a grotesque parody of grief. The arrogant, self-assured facade of the privileged young master had completely dissolved, leaving behind only a sniveling, pathetic creature desperately clawing for survival. Witnessing this abject display, Vivian seemed to finally shatter. The man she had worshipped, the idol she had placed on a pedestal, was crumbling before her eyes, revealed to be nothing more than base clay. The devastating realization, the utter collapse of her carefully constructed fantasy, was palpable. Her beloved Jason, her white moonlight, was not a hero, not a god, but a coward, consumed by self-interest, willing to sacrifice her without a second thought. A raw, animalistic sound tore from Vivian's throat, a sound of utter devastation, of faith shattered, of a world collapsing. It was a laugh devoid of joy, a sound of pure, unadulterated despair. Jason, she whispered, her voice hoarse, broken, yet strangely resolute. I've only ever loved you. Then, with a sudden, almost superhuman burst of energy, her body beneath the concrete slab began to convulse, to writhe. I stared, stunned. This wasn't the struggle of someone trying to escape. This was something else entirely. This was a desperate, self-sacrificing act. Vivian wasn't fighting for her own life. She was fighting to save his. With a Herculean effort, fueled by a love both twisted and tragically real, she began to shift the weight of the slab, pushing it, straining against its immense pressure, angling it away from Jason's side. The massive stone impossibly moved. A groan of concrete, a shower of dust and debris. And in that agonizing space, in that sliver of loosened earth, Jason, with a desperate, animalistic scramble, wriggled free. He squirmed out from under the concrete tomb, collapsing onto the rubble-strewn ground, gasping for breath, covered in dust, but alive. The dust settled. Silence descended. From beneath the slab where Vivian had been, there was no sound, no movement. Only stillness. I'm alive, Jason crowed, scrambling to his feet, his voice cracking with hysterical relief. Ha 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 ha, I'm actually alive. I made it. Yes. His euphoria was grotesque, obscene, a celebration built on another sacrifice. Ha ha. Ethan, bet you didn't see that coming, huh? You thought you were so high and mighty, judging me? Just you wait, Ethan. Just you wait until I'm back on my feet. You'll pay for this. You'll pay for everything. Just you see. I think. A familiar voice cut through Jason's triumphant rant, sharp and cold. You should be more concerned about your life, right now. Sarah? My heart leaped with a surge of relief and joy. Sarah, where were you? Are you all right? I had been searching for her, calling her name, fear gnawing at me. Seeing her now, unharmed, whole, was like a breath of fresh air in a suffocating tomb. I'm fine, Sarah replied, her voice steady, resolute. I went to get help, and thanks to you shielding me, I'm still alive. She turned her gaze, cold and hard, towards Jason, her voice hardening to steel. He is the one who needs to worry. Then, with a voice that brooked no argument, she pointed at Jason, lying sprawled on the rubble. Him. Break his legs. Yes, Miss Bai. Two hulking figures in dark suits materialized as if from nowhere, Sarah's personal bodyguards, their faces grim, their eyes devoid of pity. They moved with chilling efficiency towards Jason, their movements promising pain. Jason's triumphant grin faltered, his bravado evaporating. Wait. Wait, what? No. Miss Bai, wait. There must be some misunderstanding. Then, the screams began. A raw, agonizing symphony of pain. Yeah, Miss Bai. No. Please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. Forgive me. I'll do anything. Anything. Just stop. Please, have mercy. The pleas turned into guttural howls, punctuated by the sickening crunch of bone. Yeah. Leaning heavily on Sarah for support, I limped away from the gruesome scene, leaving Jason to his deserved fate. The echoes of his screams faded behind us as we made our way out of the ruins. 6 months later, the city, scarred but resilient, had begun to heal, rising from the ashes of the earthquake. My own body, miraculously, had also mended. The broken bones knit back together, the physical wounds closed. But the scars of the past, the emotional wreckage, those ran deeper. I hadn't returned to the sterile, soul-crushing world of corporate engineering. Instead, I had indulged a long-held dream, a quiet yearning for a simpler, more authentic life. I opened a coffee shop, a haven filled with the rich, comforting aroma of roasted beans, a sanctuary of calm amidst the lingering chaos of the city. Days unfolded. In a gentle rhythm, punctuated by the hiss of the espresso machine, the murmur of conversations, the quiet satisfaction of nurturing life, tending to the vibrant green of potted plants, the soft purr of a rescued stray cat curled at my feet. Solitude, once a source of aching loneliness, had become a balm, a source of unexpected peace. Click. The latch of the garden gate clicked open, breaking the afternoon stillness. I stepped out of the cafe, and there she was. Sarah, standing hesitantly in the courtyard, her cheeks flushed a delicate rose pink, her white hands smudged with earth, fingers nervously twisting together. Hi, she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I just wanted to change the soil. Her eyes, wide and apologetic, darted around the overturned flower pot, the scattered soil. She looked utterly flustered, utterly adorable. Honestly, she was breathtakingly lovely, a delicate bloom in my quiet, carefully cultivated world. But I was damaged goods, a broken man haunted by ghosts. I had no right to draw her into my darkness. It's all right, I said gently, crouching down to gather the scattered shards of the terracotta pot. I can clean this up. From now on, leave the messy jobs to me. Sarah, mirroring my movement, knelt beside me, her presence radiating a warmth that chased away the lingering chill in my soul. We were close, intimately so, our shoulders brushing, our hands almost touching as we gathered the broken pieces. I could feel the heat radiating from her, the delicate scent of her perfume, the quickening of my own pulse. Suddenly, Sarah reached out, her small hand closing over mine, her touch sending a jolt of unexpected electricity through me. Ethan, she said, her voice trembling slightly, her eyes searching mine with an intensity that made my breath catch in my throat. Do you really not understand my feelings? I like you, Ethan. I want to be with you. Why? Why are you always pushing me away? Faced with such directness, such vulnerable honesty, I could only look down, shame and a familiar sense of unworthiness washing over me. Sarah, you deserve better than me. You know my story, my messy past. I'm not right for you. You should be happy. You should find someone whole. Who says you're not right for me? She retorted, her voice rising in frustration. Who says you're not whole? I do like you, Ethan. I am happy when I'm with you. And this, she declared, her voice ringing with conviction, this is me pursuing my happiness. No, Sarah, I insisted, my voice low, pleading. You should have someone perfect. You're young. You're mistaking gratitude for love. You saved my life, and I saved yours. It's just survivor's guilt, survivor's bond. Your future is long, bright. Don't waste it on someone like me. You, Sarah exclaimed, her voice cracking, tears welling in her eyes. Ethan Sheen, you are such an idiot. Such a big, stupid idiot. And with that, she turned and fled, running out of the courtyard, tears streaming down her face. I remained kneeling there, amidst the broken pottery and scattered soil, the weight of her rejection, the sting of her tears, heavy in my chest. I knew I was doing the right thing, the responsible thing, the self-sacrificing thing, right? A moment later, Xiao Zhang, my young, perpetually cheerful barista, emerged from the cafe, his brow furrowed, his expression a mixture of exasperation and disapproval. Boss, he said, shaking his head, I just don't get it. Why do you always make Miss Bai cry? This is, like, the 4th time this month. Miss Bai is amazing. She's perfect. Why are you pushing her away? You'd have to search the entire world with a lantern to find someone as good as Miss Sarah. Honestly, you're just ungrateful. Before he could launch into another lecture on my romantic ineptitude, I flicked him playfully on the forehead. Mind your own business. Kid, I said, though a small, rueful smile tugged at my lips. I knew my own mind, didn't I? I knew what was best, even if it felt agonizingly wrong. The cafe buzzed back to life, the afternoon rush in full swing. Xiao Zhang, ever the diligent employee, delivered a steaming cup of coffee to a customer, only to be met with a barrage of complaints. This is supposed to be black coffee. No sugar, no milk. Get it right. The temperature is all wrong. I ordered it hot, not lukewarm. Take it back. This is weak. Tasteless. Make it stronger. What kind of a place is this? Can't even get a simple coffee order right. This is garbage. The customer's voice, loud and demanding, escalated, drawing the attention of everyone in the cafe. I hurried over to mediate, to smooth things over, and then I saw him. The source of the commotion. Jason. He looked different, and yet disturbingly familiar. He had regained some of his former arrogance, his swagger, but there was a brittle edge to it, a forced bravado that didn't quite mask the underlying bitterness. I apologize for the inconvenience, sir, I said, my voice calm and even, despite the knot of unease tightening in my stomach. Please, consider these coffees complimentary. And we won't be able to serve you again in the future. I wanted him gone. Out of my cafe. Out of my life. Jason's sneer widened, morphing into a mocking laugh. Well, if it isn't Engineer Cheen. Fancy meeting you here. Running a little coffee shack now, are we? Ha ha ha. Quite a step down from your high-flying corporate life, isn't it? His words dripped with condescension, with a petty, vindictive pleasure at my perceived misfortune. Xiao Zhang, I said, ignoring Jason, my voice firm. Please escort our guest out. I refused to engage, to give him the satisfaction of a reaction. What's the matter, Engineer Cheen? Cack out your tongue? Don't get too high and mighty, just because you've managed to latch onto the buy. Family's coattails. A pheasant dressed in peacock feathers is still just a pheasant, you know. You'll never truly belong in their world. Before Jason could launch into another tirade, Xiao Zhang, with surprising efficiency, ushered him towards the door, firmly pushing him out. Onto the street. I watched Jason limp away, his gait uneven, his right leg stiff and unnatural. The rumors were true. His leg, shattered in Sarah's retribution, was now a prosthetic. And the whispers also spoke of his dwindling fortunes, his parents' savings squandered, his charm and good looks now his only currency, his existence reduced to leeching off wealthy women, a pathetic shadow of his former self. My next encounter with Sarah was at a charity gala, a glittering affair held to raise funds for earthquake relief. I had donated what little savings I had left to a local orphanage, a small gesture in the face of such widespread devastation. Sarah arrived like a vision, a radiant presence in a flowing white satin gown. Her hair, styled in elegant waves, framed a face delicately painted with soft makeup. Grace, poise, ethereal beauty. She commanded attention the moment she entered the ballroom, drawing admiring glances from every corner of the room. But her eyes sought only mine. They lit up with a warmth that banished the chill from my soul as she made her way towards me, her smile radiant, her steps light. We talked, briefly, politely, navigating the polite social dance of the evening. But I kept a careful distance, both physical and emotional, a self-imposed barrier between us. You're avoiding me, Sarah said, her voice soft, her smile fading, a shadow of hurt flickering in her eyes. No, I lied, my voice barely above a whisper. It's just this event. There are so many important people here. You should socialize. Meet people. The words felt hollow, inadequate, a pathetic attempt to justify my cowardly retreat. There are so many eligible bachelors here, Sarah. The last words were barely audible, choked with a pain I couldn't quite suppress. This time, Sarah remained silent for a long moment, her lips moving soundlessly, as if forming words she couldn't bring herself to speak. Then, her eyes glistening with unshed tears, she turned and walked away, the light in her eyes extinguished, the warmth replaced by a chilling sadness. My heart ached, a dull, persistent throb. Seeking solace, seeking oblivion, I retreated to the bar, pouring myself a stiff drink, drowning my self-inflicted sorrows in the amber liquid. Across the room, I saw Sarah, surrounded by a group of attentive men, each vying for her attention. She laughed, smiled, played the part of the gracious heiress, but her eyes remained distant, unfocused, her laughter lacking its usual warmth. As the evening drew to a close, I watched her leave, a solitary figure amidst the departing crowd. But then, I noticed something. A man, limping slightly, was following her, his gait familiar, unsettlingly so. Jason. A cold dread gripped me. Sarah, I shouted, surging forward, pushing through the throng of departing guests. But I was too late. Jason had reached her. He grabbed her arm, his grip too tight, his smile too wide, too menacing. He steered her away from the brightly lit ballroom, towards the shadows, towards the darkened corners of the sprawling estate, towards danger. "Sarah!" I yelled again, my voice lost in the general din. I ran, pushing past startled guests, my heart pounding, a primal fear gripping me. But he was already pulling her away, dragging her towards a dilapidated old building at the edge of the property. "Miss Bot," Jason's voice, strained, manic, echoed in the night air. "You were so proud when you broke my leg, weren't you? Well, how do you like this? How do you like being helpless now? Imagine if I carved up that pretty little face of yours, 99 times 99 cuts, made you a monster. Who would want you then, huh?" "Leave her alone, Jason," I shouted, bursting into the clearing, my voice raw with desperation. "Jason, let her go." Well, look who it is. Engineer Chin, to the rescue again. "What's it to you, huh? Why are you playing the hero?" "I'm just having a little chat with Miss Bai." "Or are you jealous? Thinking of making a play for the heiress yourself? Eh? Ha ha ha. She's innocent, Jason," I pleaded, my voice shaking with fear and rage. "This has nothing to do with her. Our feud is between you and me. Leave her out of it." "Innocent," Jason screeched, his voice rising to a hysterical pitch. "Innocent? What about my leg, huh? What about the months of agony, the humiliation? Was that innocent? You think I'm just going to forget? You think you can just walk away and live happily ever after, while I'm left with nothing? No, it's not fair. None of it is fair. And you, Chin Tianming, you're going to pay." "Listen to me, Jason," I said, trying to keep my voice calm, reasonable, though my heart was hammering against my ribs. "Let Sarah go. Take me instead. I'll be your hostage. Do whatever you want of me. I don't care. Just let her go." "Oh, I'm not going to let you go, Chin Tianming," Jason snarled, his grip on Sarah tightening, his eyes gleaming with a terrifying madness. "Now get down on your knees. Right now? Or I swear, I'll carve her face right here, right now." To punctuate his threat, he pressed the knife against Sarah's cheek, drawing a thin line of blood. Panic surged through me. Without hesitation, I dropped to my knees. Sarah gasped, a choked sob escaping her lips. Tears welled in Sarah's eyes, blurring her vision, pain lancing through her cheek. No woman, especially one as beautiful as Sarah, could face the threat of disfigurement without terror. The psychological pain was, perhaps, even more agonizing than the physical. "Jason, please," I pleaded, my voice trembling, my heart breaking at Sarah's silent suffering. "Sarah's family is wealthy, powerful. They'll do anything for her. They'll pay for your medical treatment, find you the best doctors, the best prosthetics. Name your price, Jason. $1 million? $10 million? $100 million? $200 million? They'll pay it. Just let her go. Of course, I want their money." Jason hissed, his eyes gleaming with greed. "But that's not all I want. Is it, Chin Tianming? It's not just about the money. It's about you. It's about why you have everything, and I have nothing. Why Sarah looks at you with those eyes, and not at me. It's not fair. It's never been fair. And I'm going to make you suffer. Both of you. Okay, Jason, anything you want, you can have it," I said, my voice soothing, placating, trying to buy time, trying to get closer. "Whatever is rightfully yours, you can have it. Just don't hurt her." Slowly, cautiously, I began to inch closer to Jason, my eyes fixed on his, my movements deliberate, non-threatening. "Stop right there, Chin Tianming," Jason barked, his voice sharp, suspicious. "Now pick up that brick. Over there. And break your own leg. Do it now." His voice was laced with a manic glee, a perverse satisfaction at my humiliation. Terror washed over Sarah, a wave of pure, unadulterated fear. "No, Ethan, no. Don't do it," she sobbed, tears streaming down her face. Ignoring her cries, I reached for the brick, the rough, cold surface of grim weight in my hand. This was insane. This was madness. But Sarah's life was on the line. And for Sarah, I would endure anything. Even this. I raised the brick, my hand trembling, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. "Harder," Jason shrieked, his voice cracking with sadistic glee. "Hit it harder. What's the matter? Are you afraid of a little pain? If you don't hit it harder, I swear, I'll cut her again." He pressed the knife deeper into Sarah's cheek, another thin trickle of blood appearing, tracing a crimson path down her pale skin. With a strangled cry, I brought the brick down on my own leg, the sickening crunch of bone echoing in the silence. Ethan, no, stop. Run, Ethan, run. Sarah screamed, her voice breaking, her body convulsing with sobs. Run away. Save yourself. I could only look at her, my eyes locking with hers, a silent message passing between us. It's okay. I'll be okay. I'm doing this for you. And then, in that split second of distraction, in that moment of shared vulnerability, Jason faltered. His focus wavered. Now, exploiting that infinitesimal lapse in concentration, I lunged forward, a roar tearing from my throat. My fist connected with Jason's jaw, a solid, satisfying impact that sent him reeling. I kicked out, my foot connecting with his prosthetic leg, sending it flying off, sending Jason sprawling to the ground, weaponless, unbalanced, utterly vulnerable. Before he could recover, before he could even register what had happened, Sarah, with a speed and ferocity I wouldn't have believed possible, snatched up the knife Jason had dropped. And I unleashed my pent-up fury, raining down blows on Jason, punches and kicks fueled by adrenaline and rage. Who do you think you are? I roared. Each blow a cathartic release of years of suppressed anger, of lifetimes of suffering. Who do you think? You are to hurt her? To threaten her? To destroy everything? You want to blame someone? Blame yourself. This is all your fault. Yours. Sarah, her face contorted with a righteous fury I had never witnessed before, raised the knife, her hand trembling, her eyes blazing. She plunged the blade into Jason's upper arm, not fatally, but deep enough, painful enough, to make him scream. Yeah. Oh God. My arm. Miss Bino. Please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I'm begging you. Don't kill me. Killing me is a crime. It's not worth it. I'm already a broken man. Please. Have mercy. I won't do it again. I promise. I swear. I'm begging you. Jason's bravado had vanished, replaced by a pathetic whimper, a craven plea for mercy. I stepped forward, gently taking the knife from Sarah's trembling hand. It's not worth it, Sarah, I said softly, my voice gentle, reassuring. He's not worth it. Not worth risking everything. Not worth staining her hands with his blood. He was a pathetic, broken creature, already reaping the consequences of his own actions. Jason lay groaning on the ground, a whimpering, broken mess. I turned to Sarah, my heart aching for her, for the terror she had endured. Gently, I touched her cheek, tracing the thin line of blood with my thumb. Does it hurt? I murmured, my voice filled with tenderness and concern. It's all my fault. I should have protected you better. Sarah's eyes welled with tears again, but this time, they were tears of relief, of release, of something else. Something deeper, something softer. It's just a scratch, she whispered, her voice trembling. It's nothing. But will it scar? Will I be ugly now? Will you still want me? Sarah, I said, my voice thick with emotion, my heart overflowing. You are beautiful, inside and out, and I will always want you. Always. Sarah, I love you. Please, please be with me. Let us be together. For real this time. Really? She whispered, her eyes wide, searching mine, hope flickering in their depths. You really mean it? You want to be with me? Ethan? Yes, I said, my voice firm, unwavering, a promise etched in my soul. Yes, Sarah, I do. Sarah's face crumpled, and she burst into tears again, but this time, they were tears of joy, of overwhelming relief, of a dream finally realized. She threw herself into my arms, clinging to me, sobbing against my chest. Ethan, she cried, her voice muffled, choked with emotion. Oh, Ethan. For months, she had been the pursuer, the relentless force of love and hope, while I had been the reluctant one, the escaper, the denier. I had rejected her, pushed her away, again and again, blinded by my own self-doubt, my own fear, my own perceived unworthiness. But her unwavering persistence, her unwavering faith in me, her pure, unadulterated love, it had broken through my defenses, melted the ice around my heart. She, this pampered heiress, this delicate flower, had shown a strength, a resilience, a depth of love that had humbled me, transformed me. And now, finally, I was ready. Ready to accept her love, ready to give my own heart in return, ready to embrace the future, whatever it may hold, with her by my side. I held her close, stroking her hair, whispering words of comfort and love, our laughter and tears mingling in the quiet night, a symphony of hope and healing, of a new beginning. Our tender embrace was abruptly shattered by a blood-curdling scream, a sound of raw, unadulterated terror that ripped through the night air. Aya! Ghosts! Ghosts! Jason, still sprawled on the ground, his eyes wide with a primal fear, was shrieking, pointing wildly into the darkness. A figure emerged from the shadows, a gaunt, spectral form, draped in a tattered black burlap coat. Stooped, disheveled, a grotesque caricature of humanity, it shuffled towards Jason, its movements jerky, unnatural, like a puppet with broken strings. I squinted, my eyes straining in the dim light, trying to make out the figure's features. And then I saw the tangled, matted hair, the vacant, unfocused eyes, the gaunt, ravaged face, the chillingly familiar scar that snaked across her cheek and neck, like a monstrous, flesh-eating centipede. It was Vivian. Vivian. Alive. Or undead. She was a ghost, a specter, a living embodiment of my past nightmares. The earthquake hadn't killed her. It had broken her, body and soul, leaving her a hollow shell, a walking wound, a terrifying echo of the woman she once was. A cold sweat broke out on my skin, a primal fear gripping me, a chilling sense of déjà vu. This was her. The Vivian of my nightmares, the Vivian who had haunted my previous life, the Vivian who had forced me to worship at Jason's shrine, the Vivian whose twisted devotion had driven me to despair, to death, the Vivian who had dragged me into her darkness, into her madness. You said you loved me, Vivian rasped, her voice a hollow whisper, devoid of all emotion, all humanity. You said we'd be together forever. She reached down, her skeletal fingers, gnarled and dirt-encrusted, closing around Jason's hair, dragging him across the rough ground, towards the shadows, towards the darkness that had consumed her soul. Forever, she repeated, her voice a chilling echo, a promise and a threat. Forever. No. Let go of me. You crazy bitch. Let go. You're insane. Why aren't you dead already? Jason's screams faded into the distance, swallowed by the night, dragged away by the ghost of Vivian's twisted love. He was weak, wounded, utterly powerless against her relentless, spectral grip. Jason, the architect of so much pain, had become her prisoner. Now, trapped in her personal hell, condemned to an eternity of her broken, obsessive love. Justice, of a kind, had been served. Let them haunt each other, these two broken souls. Locked in a macabre dance of madness and despair, forever bound together in their self-made purgatory. Let them be each other's punishment. Let them leave the living in peace. 3 months later, healed in body and spirit, Sarah and I stood before a flower-decked altar, ready to begin our new life, together. Her father, initially wary, initially disapproving of a commoner for his precious daughter, had finally relented, swayed by our story, by our undeniable love, by the sheer, unyielding force of Sarah's devotion. He had seen the depth of our connection, the strength of our bond, forged in the fires of tragedy and resilience. He had seen, too, the 3 times I had saved his daughter's life, acts of selfless courage, that had finally softened his heart, earned his grudging respect, and ultimately, his blessing. He had even, in a gesture both grand and slightly intimidating, presented me with a condition: abandon the charming but decidedly unprofitable coffee shop and take the reins of his multi-billion-dollar corporation. His only heir, his beloved Sarah, needed a partner worthy of her, a leader, a protector, a provider. And apparently, in his own gruff, paternal way, he had decided that I, the former engineer, the coffee shop owner, the survivor, was sufficient. At the wedding, bathed in the soft glow of candlelight, surrounded by loved ones, I gazed at Sarah, my radiant bride, a vision of ethereal beauty in her pristine white gown. My bride. The words resonated within me, a profound sense of joy, of gratitude, of disbelief. Tears welled in my eyes, unbidden, unstoppable, tears of happiness, tears of relief, tears of overwhelming love. After so much darkness, so much pain, so much loss, I had found light again. I had found love. I had found happiness. A happiness I had never dared to dream possible. A happiness I would cherish, protect, and hold on to, with every fiber of my being, for all the days of my life. One quiet evening, months into our blissful marriage, Sarah and I were curled up on the sofa, lost in the pages of our respective books, bathed in the Warm, golden glow of lamplight, a comfortable silence settling between us. A peaceful domesticity I had only ever dreamed of, now a tangible reality. Suddenly, Sarah stirred, setting aside her book, her eyes alight with curiosity. "That first time we met," she said, her voice soft, thoughtful. "At the company, when you told me to go downstairs, that it was dangerous upstairs. Why did you say that? It was like you knew something was going to happen. Like you could predict the future." I smiled, a slow, knowing smile, and gently shook my head, a secret smile, a smile that held a story too incredible to tell, a truth too fantastical to be believed. "Some things are best left unexplained, my love," I murmured, my voice low, mysterious. "No," she protested, playfully swatting my arm, her playful demand echoing in the quiet room. "No way. You have to tell me. Tonight. Right. Now." And with a mischievous glint in her eyes, she launched herself at me, tickling me mercilessly, her laughter, bright and joyful, filling our home, chasing away the last lingering shadows of the past, ushering in a future filled with love, laughter, and endless possibilities. Our happy laughter echoed through the house, a testament to our love, a celebration of our second chance, a promise of forever.